I got a question for you guys, and we can all be honest because we've done this long enough, and I think we're comfortable in what we provide service wise and education and advice wise to clients. How long into your careers did you feel like it took before you truly had a great understanding of what the insured's operations were in our specific niches and what the insurance market and policy forms were really doing and saying?
Well, I'll start, I guess. I think that ultimately my path was probably a little easier because I had you two in front of me, right? To
That's
educate
very
me.
kind of you.
And then
Thanks,
you
bro.
two had Jeff in front of you, so my pathway was probably a little bit more expedited than most. But I can go back to my early part of my career and say I was probably still in year 5, right? Where there was times where I felt like I'd be asking a stupid question because I was kind of like, feel like I should know this, but I'm not 100% certain. I'll go ask Ice. And then he would look at me kind of like, I can't believe you don't know. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, ultimately, like, there's a lot. And that for me, I think really was on the work injury side, because when it comes to work injury and 1099s, there's so many different ways that you can set it up and skin the cat to make sure that they're adequately covered. You've got the threat of audit closed down, and there's just so many varieties in terms of, are they purely all 1099s? Are they a hybrid risk? Is there a W-2 mixed in there? Are they brokering freight? And it just took me a while really to get to the point where I felt like, yes, I know this inside and out enough where I can feel comfortable not only, working with the client and selling them on a product, but also educating them as well in terms of more of let's call it the standard when you want to deal with that type of risk.
So 5 years.
Took me, I would say 5 years, I'd be comfortable in saying that.
Yeah. Adam,
Yeah,
Ice.
I think it's to me, it's still a work in progress. I mean, here we are talking about contingent auto and the ambiguities of it and, utilizing London forms, domestic forms, and, it's still being learned, quite frankly, comparing and contrasting because it's, like the courier industry and the final mile industry, it's ever changing. It's kind of what gives it a little bit of an appeal because it isn't stagnant. There's a lot of changes that we've seen over the last 20 plus years. So yeah, I mean, I think from a understanding the industry that we work with, yeah, that took certainly several years. The insurance to be dialed in on that. Obviously, we had some good mentorship. Even as we were acquired, taking on additional mentorship, quite frankly. But it's continuing. We still need to continue to be educated. Still learning forms and different nuances amongst the forms. But we've known our product very well, and it definitely took 4, 5, 6 years to really dial in on that.
I would say that just to add into Brian's point there, that's a better answer than mine, ultimately, because you are always learning and evolving, as is our customer base. So
yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't think any of us would, right? If you're a student of the game, you continue to go all the way. My question was more of a confidence level of I understand the ins and outs of both of these things, and I understand with confidence how to marry them together. And it is not a process that happens in week 1 or even in year 2 or 3, right? There's just too many moving parts to it. So
Yeah,
Adam, was yours similar? And no, it's a different space, but
well, I'm glad Ice you brought up mentorship and having resources around you, because I do think that was everything for me and learning this business and this space, and so I had a mentor like you guys as well. But I would say probably at least for the first 5 years, we were on the phone often. I'm asking questions, I'm soaking everything in. I'm trying to conceptualize and understand why this is the way that it is, why this coverage responds the way it does, and just understanding the intricacies of whatever the product might be, the placement might be. But I think it was probably year 7 by the time I really understood not only the operations of my clients, right, but also the policy forms that exist in the marketplace. And there's every policy is different. Every policy reads differently. Every policy is, in my space, is a manuscript policy form. And so, I think that a lot of times, as humans, you don't really know something or understand something, or you don't know to ask about something until you actually go through it, right? And so there's a lot to be said about actually going through some of these experiences and dealing with coverage questions and claims questions and operational questions and vetting questions. I mean, sometimes you're not going to know that until you actually go through it. So it does take time. It takes a lot of time to sort of, to submerge yourself in this industry in order to understand it and in order to learn from it.
So I just threw it into ChatGPT just for fun, right? How many years would it take you to accomplish the industry level of standard, which is expert level, 10,000 hours, right? So if you're working 40 hours a week, 4.8 years. So I think what
Okay.
we're saying here, in terms of that window is pretty accurate. That 5-year window, maybe a little bit more, right? In terms of really becoming an expert of the subject matter.
I wonder
and
how
from
long
there,
it
continue
takes
to
a
evolve.
machine to do it. So they might be a human. How long does ChatGPT, how long do they take to learn and become a
Sure, I should
professional?
reverse the question on ChatGPT. How long does it take you to become an expert on this?